What's going on, my babies? Welcome back to another episode of The Spiritual Word. As always, I apologize for any noises in advance and anything of that nature, and I also like to start these off with a disclaimer by stating that these are for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research to come to conclusions, to have your own answers, to make your own decisions, and I believe in your ability to do so and to be your own person. And in today's video version, I have a special guest. That's my cat. Anyways, I have a audio version of this podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, and I have a video version of this podcast on YouTube. They're both named The Spiritual Word. I'm your host, Jackie. I upload Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and if psychology, self-help, spirituality, science, and philosophy are things that you're interested in, then I recommend subbing or following whatever platform you're finding me on. So, I'm just going to keep going based off the last couple episodes that I made. I've been talking about The Thing, and I use air quotes for people who can't see. I use air quotes when I talk about The Thing because The Thing is consciousness itself. And so the last couple episodes, or like the last main topics, it's been The Thing, quotation marks, and then how The Thing works. And now I'm going to talk about the unity of those two things, which is the third, how it manifests. So, the first episode we're talking about how the thing, or what the thing is, sorry, and then how it works. And how it manifests would be the third thing. And basically, there's no linear way to express this, which is why I've talked about how it works twice and what it is 3 times. And because there's no linear way of describing this, you have to understand and know the first two in order to know the last one. So, what the thing is consciousness, and consciousness itself is what makes everything up. Consciousness was the idea, and the way that it played out is how it manifested, or the way that it works is through law. And what is created is reflection. So, for example, somebody had to think an idea of a shirt before making a shirt. So, the thing is the shirt. And then how it works is the law, or the steps in order to create this. You have to create this idea, patent this idea, and then out of this comes the conclusion, the thing it is. So the last step to the third, or the last step to the way it works and what it is what it does. It exists. That's it. So how the things manifest is just what it is. Like consciousness itself is just conscious. And the way that it works is just the way it works. Now this third thing, what separates the third thing from these two is that the third has the ability to look at itself. Or like, the reason that I think humans are conscious is because consciousness wants to experience itself. And so it's a reflection. And as I look down at my timestamp, it's 333. So with that being said, I'm just going to kind of like move forward just because this is a very simple idea. The way that it manifests is, it is what it is. And what it was the idea. And how it came to be is the law of how it was shaped. So, moving on from that, I want to go back and talk about what the thing is, because I feel like once you know what it is, the next two things, could I hear my mouth? The next two things flow in to itself. So, basically, and I also recommend meditation and contemplation on these ideas, because ultimately it will help you in digesting the information. And not only will it help you to digest it, it'll help you understand, and it will help you have your own realizations. Like, it'll help you kind of produce whatever you're trying to produce in your reality. So, the thing itself is the idea. I had to be an idea before I was a being. And so the idea of a human is a kind of hard placement, because this is why people think, oh, like, God is an external being who created heaven and hell and humans and Adam and Eve and, all these animals and blah, blah, blah. The only reason I think that people think that there's an external being that they perceive to be God is because we are a really hard idea to think of. Like, if you told me to sit in a room and to give you ideas for one thing, I'd probably struggle. And not only because I'm being put on the spot, but also because it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of energy to create ideas and to produce ideas. And it takes a lot of effort and energy to even create that. So remember, this is also another key point to remember. You are the idea. You are the thing that came up with the idea. And you're also the thing. So a lot of spiritual people talk about this thing where they say consciousness or spirit. They use the word spirit. You are spirit. And you are spirit. Always. You're temporary having a human experience. And the reason I use quotes is because most common people, like, if I asked somebody randomly out on the street if they thought that they were a spirit having a person dream, they probably wouldn't say yes unless they have already been tuned into that information. And so going from being a spirit into a body, you have to forget that you were a spirit to begin with, so you can rediscover yourself from a different point of view. And in order to rediscover yourself, you have to uproot the belief that you are a human in a human world and that you're defined and limited to this little tiny box, because you came up with this idea of this box. You came up with a box. You are the box. And there's no limitation because you have no limitation. So when spiritual people say the thing or consciousness or you are spirit having a temporary experience, the reason I say that is for you to grasp this concept. I have to explain to you this concept in metaphors and analogies that make sense to you. And you are the idea. You are the idea. You are also the experiencer of said idea. I think that's what the beauty of being a human is. The fact that we get to experience our own ideas. And I also want to talk about how the thing works, because in order to understand the last step, which is the manifestation of the thing, you have to understand what it is and how it works. So what it is everything. Consciousness creates everything. Consciousness is the idea of everything. And what separates consciousness from the manifestation is that the manifestation is the experience. So for example, most people who get into relationships, their idea is that they want to create this wonderful experience with another person, and they are basically just having, like, they're romanticizing something that could be. And that romanticizing is actually the experience telling you your next want, right? Like you tell yourself what you want, what you don't want. And that's divinely given, because you are a divine being. You're never not in alignment. That's something that I had to kind of like wrap my brain around, because I always struggled with, how do I get myself into alignment? How do I get myself into alignment? But you're never not in alignment. It's just that you might be blinding yourself with illusionary ideas. Like the fact that I'm a human, therefore I'm limited, quotation marks. And the truth is that there's no limitation. The only limitations that there are is because I've created them for myself. And so the thing itself is the idea. Consciousness, like I said in other previous episodes, consciousness is the concept. Consciousness is the idea. And the law, consciousness is technically everything. And I don't want to confuse you with only saying that it's a concept, because it's what creates the concept too. It's the divine material that creates this experience. And it's basically the experience and the idea of the experience and the experience itself. But for the sake of keeping this linear, the idea is divine conception. So you are an idea until you are created or produced. And because we don't experience time, we're always created. Like, this is going to be my forever until it stops. So that's what I mean by we don't experience time. So that's the thing. The thing is everything. But for the sake of simplicity, we'll say it's spirit. And the way that spirit works is through divine law. And you've heard the law of attraction, the law of assumption, the law of this, the law of that. Whatever helps you realign your focus. People have made different laws for the concept to be constructed, or for that concept to be perceived in a way that is tangible. Because if I told you this is how it works, you probably wouldn't grasp that as easily as if I told you, okay, this is how it works, now let me compare this to the way your car works. Because you know how your car works. Even if you've never touched, I don't know, a wrench in your life. So, with that being said, it works through law. And the laws that it works through is your knowing. You are the experience. And the experiencer. And the creator. And because consciousness, or everything, is coming out of you, you have to be the one to push out more of everything. There's never a time where the pictures or reality stops. Unless you do some sort of, I don't know, some sort of like out-of-body experience type of thing. And that could be in the form of like a hallucinogenic, or it could be surgery, or it could be a near-death experience. It's basically whatever is taking you out of this perception or this body. And this could even be astral projection, whatever you want to call it. So, or whatever you do. And so how it works is through divine law. Whatever you tell it to be is what it will be. Whatever you tell it is. Whatever you want it to be is. Whatever you think it is. Whatever you know it is. Now, this is a very kind of mature concept. And I don't mean mature as in like, I know more, older people will know this. It's more mature in the sense that like your consciousness has to develop through you. Like a kid growing into a teenager, growing into an adult. That's why I say mature. Just because it has to grow and it has to age and it has to mature. Like when wine matures. It's not about time, per se, because the spirit does not experience time. The spirit in you is constantly, going and going and going. Now, the reason I say mature is because you have to start somewhere, and it's easier to start from nothing than it is to start from something. As we've proven ourselves. We exist, and that should be enough proof. So, let me explain this concept in a more broken down way. So, when I say what it is will be, it's kind of like if I tell myself these are headphones, they're gonna be headphones. And if I, for some reason want to delude myself or lie to myself and say that the headphones that I'm wearing right now to record this episode are not on my head, is a part of me, then I can do that. And I will fully feed that belief, even if that belief is a lie. And even if somebody came up to me and they're like, those are just headphones, it's not a part of you, I would not care or perceive it that way. And the more that I don't care, and the more that I don't perceive it that way, probably more likely I'm going to have these on all the time because I believe that it's a part of me. And that's what I mean by what you say it is will be. Now, this is a little bit more fluid when it comes to the spiritual realm or the things you don't see. For example, beliefs, you don't physically see beliefs. Faith, you don't physically see faith. Strength, you don't physically see strength unless it's built into something. And same with your beliefs, same with your ideology, same with your ideas. Your ideas are only ideas until you can fully see them, until you can fully handle them and tangibly grasp those ideas. So, let me break this down even further for how it works. What it is everything. Spirit has no limitation. The only limit is the fact that I'm in a body. And because I'm in a body, although my consciousness has no limitation. My consciousness can skip through time, it can go back in time, although it wouldn't be the same timeline as me because we're going through different timelines as we speak. And because of that, I have no limits. I am only bound to what I can perceive to be bound from. Even though I have this body, I'm not limited to this space and time. Even though I have this body, I'm not limited to what it can do, because I can always bring something from the ether to help me, to assist me. For example, I used this analogy last time. I am not limited to not being able to fly, because I can get on a plane. Or because I can construct myself wings or a machine that will do that for me. My mind is not limited to this space in any way, shape, and form. And that's what innovation is, So, the way that this works, you have to know what you want to see. And then fully believe that you will see that. It's just like how people go to church and they're like, I believe in God. And if you break down the word believe, it's be lived. Beliefs are real. They just say you can't see them. You can't tangibly grasp them. And so that's why it feels foreign. And so what you say will also be, right? This is why spiritual people, they talk about the importance of words and all these other crazy woo-woo ideas, because they're just ideas until they're realized, until they're real and tangible, and you can grab them and throw them in the room. And your ideas will be. For example, we all have the, like every human believes that they're a human. So what came out of that? The facts that come out of that, or the tangibility that comes from the belief, is that we're humans. And so what will be is just like how consciousness is a belief, but it's a belief that is, because it is here. And we've proven that by existing. And so the last part to this is how it works, how it unfolds. If what is will be, and that's how it works, and what is, then how does it manifest? It manifests through the law, and the law is through a mechanical presence of, this is what you believe, this is what is, let's connect the two, and that's what creates that polar representation of yin and yang, which is what people think is, duality. But the reason you have both is because they're all in one existence. If I have up and I have down, they're still in the same room. I can go up and I can also go down. I go side and side, but they're ultimately in the same room. So don't split your ideas into thinking good, bad. Those are just for our people brains to understand what's going on, because we need a way to interpret this reality in a way that's linear, because it'll help our linear bodies evolve into a non-linear experiencer. And so with that being said, thanks for tuning in and tapping in. I'm end this here, and I'll probably keep talking about this over and over just because this is a very broad concept, and not only is it broad, but it's also hard to understand it if you've only ever seen one episode, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna keep talking about this, and thanks for tuning in and tapping in. As always, I apologize for any noises in the background, and I upload Monday to Friday. I already said everything that I need to say, so I'm gonna end this here. Thanks for tuning in, tapping in. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.